Some people think to harvest happiness by weeding troubles, easing every stress. The trouble is that troubles never end. Get rid of one and you face its friend. And you face its friend. It's in your heart. The songs of joy resound. You'll be what echoes in the world around. Wind on a hill sounds lonely if you're sad, if you're free. Cheerful if you're glad. Cheerful if you're glad. Friends, come with me. We'll chant of battles won, shots not of anger. Joy will be our guide. Before the light, the veils of sorrow rend. In inner freedom, all delusions end. All delusions end. This next song is a children's song, but it's really a beautiful prayer for us all. Guide me, Lord, throughout this day, in all I do and all I say. Tell me when I go astray. Hold me in thy light. Help me see that happiness comes not with wanting more, but less. Teach me all my friends to bless. Hold them in thy light. Okay, change of key. Guide me, Lord, throughout this day, in all I do, in all I say. Tell me when I go astray. Hold me in thy light. Help me see that happiness comes not from wanting more but less. Teach me all my friends to bless. Hold them in thy light. Guide me, Lord, throughout this day, in all I do, in all I say. Tell me when I go astray. Hold me in thy light. Help me see that happiness comes not with wanting more but less. Teach me all my friends to bless. Hold them in thy light. Guide me, Lord, throughout this day, in all I do, in all I say. Tell me when I go astray. Hold me in thy light. Help me see that happiness comes not with wanting more but less. Teach me all my friends to bless. Hold them in thy light. Hold them in thy light.
So let's prepare for meditation. Sit up straight. Let's take 3 cycles of tensing and relaxing the body, double inhalation, and double exhalation, release. Relax and feel that relaxation wash through you. 2 more times. Let us enter the heart space and light the candle of devotion. Feel the flame of devotion burn brightly in the windless silence within. Bring your attention to the point between the eyebrows. And attend to the flow of the breath. Making every breath an offering of your devotion to the divine. You may take the Hong So technique or any other technique you wish. We'll meditate for about 5 minutes.
While remaining in a meditative state, listen to this week's affirmation for self-healing. Patience. Patience, it has been well said, is the shortest path to God. To attune the heart to the rhythms of eternity, one must first adjust himself to life's longer rhythms. He should not allow his mind to become absorbed in concentration on the little ripples at the surface of the sea. Patient means also adjusting to whatever is in life, rather than wishing it was something else. Patience is a prerequisite for every type of success, for it is when we work with things as they are, we can change them, whatever might be liked. But please repeat after me, first in a loud voice. I am neither the ripples at the surface of the sea,
I am neither the ripples at the surface of the sea,
nor yet the crashing waves.
nor yet the crashing waves.
I am the vast ocean deeps,
I am the vast ocean deeps,
unaffected by mighty surface storms,
unaffected by mighty surface storms,
untouched by any superficial change.
untouched by any superficial change.
Now in a softer voice. I am neither the ripples at the surface of the sea,
I am neither the ripples at the surface of the sea,
nor yet the crashing waves.
nor yet the crashing waves.
I am the vast ocean deeps,
I am the vast ocean deeps,
unaffected by mighty surface storms,
unaffected by mighty surface storms,
untouched by any superficial change.
untouched by any superficial change.
Now in a whisper. I am neither the ripples at the surface of the sea,
The ripples at the surface of the sea,
nor yet the crashing waves.
the crashing waves.
I am the vast ocean deeps,
I am the vast ocean deeps,
unaffected by mighty surface storms,
unaffected by mighty surface storms,
untouched by any superficial change.
untouched by any superficial change.
Now silently, still at the subconscious level, repeating this with energy inside, but silently. I am neither the ripples at the surface of the sea, nor yet the crashing waves. I am the vast ocean deeps, unaffected by mighty surface storms, untouched by any superficial change. Now, with rising aspirations, repeat the affirmation inwardly, focusing at the spiritual eye, offering it up in loving prayer to God. I am neither the ripples at the surface of the sea, nor yet the crashing waves. I am the vast ocean deeps, unaffected by mighty surface storms, untouched by any superficial change. Long have I called thee, Lord, but thou hast not answered me. Ah, but for what long eons didst thou endure my fickleness? In this life, Lord, and if need be throughout eternity, I will keep calling thee.
Now we'll have our reading from the rays of the one light.
This is a reading from Rays of the One Light, weekly commentaries on the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita by Swami Kriyananda. Week 13, Deeds versus Intentions. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. Jesus Christ emphasized repeatedly the spirit, not the letter of the law. In chapter 5 of the Gospel of St. Matthew, he speaks of the sin of killing and of the legal punishment attendant on that sin, but says that more important than the act is the desire to kill or to do harm. He shows that the sin of harmful desire goes beyond merely wanting to kill. My message to you, he said, is this: whoever is angry with his brother without cause already stands condemned. Whoever contemptuously calls his brother a fool shall answer to it to the Supreme Council, and whoever calls his brother an outcast of God shall be in danger of hellfire. Brother here means any other human being. For all of us, in the highest sense, are brothers and sisters of children of our one Father, Mother, God. The true self of one is the self of all. To hurt another is, even if one doesn't realize it, is to hurt oneself. Swami Kriyananda in The Path recalls an episode in which Master Paramahansa Yogananda revealed his sense of identity even with the plants. One day, Kriyananda wrote, "We were moving a delicate but rather heavy tropical plant into position on the hillside. Our handling evidently was too rough, for Master cried out, 'Be careful for what you are doing. Can't you feel? It's alive.' To wish death to anyone, to wish even harm to another creature, is to deny in oneself the reality that the divine life of which all of us are manifestations. It is, in short, to deny the eternal truth proclaimed by the Bhagavad Gita in the 2nd chapter. The self is never born, nor does it perish. Once existing, it cannot ever cease to be. It is birthless, eternal, changeless, ever itself. It is not slain when the body is slain. And thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Om. Om.
Now we'll continue with a reading from Whispers from Eternity. This reading is number 179. Make us transparent, that thy light may shine through us unimpeded. The sunbeams of thy love shine equally on all the members of thy cosmic family, whether prophet, hero, villain, tiny moth, or me. It is our own fault if we make ourselves opaque by our own mental and emotional dullness. Teach us to wipe away the dirt of error from the windows of our understanding. Our arms are weak for the task, owing to our long inner spiritual resistance. O Master Cleanser, lend power to our efforts, that we may wipe away every last spot that clings to our minds, obstructing our transparency and preventing free entry into thy light. O make us fully clean again, invisible in our egos, because transmitting only visions of thy beauty, which lies within us. So we want that inner light to flow through us. So last night there was a beautiful tribute to Nayaswami Anandi, who passed away recently. And it was a tribute at the village where people came up and offered memories and moments that they shared with Nayaswami Anandi. And they were very beautiful. Some people wept, some people laughed, but all those tears and smiles were of deep gratitude for a truly divine being, a truly divine friend that Nayaswami Anandi was to all of us. And I have beautiful memories of the time we spent together. She was one of my teachers in the meditation teacher training course. And then I saw her throughout the years when I visited the village. And there were times we communicated. So a truly divine guide, always serviceful, available, helpful, totally devoted to the teachings. And just to see her on her bed of roses when she was resting after she had passed was just an absolutely beautiful experience. So in my heart, I carry you, Anandi, as well. Blessings. So our topic today is deeds versus intentions. So if you want the short version, what is more important, deeds or intentions? I'll tell you, it's intentions. But anyways, we'll continue here. There is a little joke, and this person says, I always start the day with good intentions. Every day I set my intentions clearly. But then I get out of bed and that's where it all goes wrong. So maybe you have heard this joke before. I hadn't, so I thought this is perfect for this topic. So why is it so hard to follow through with our intentions? Yogananda says that our intentions are good, but our actions are misguided. And I'm sure we've all been in situations that the outcome was not what we had intended for. I guess we've always been in those situations, though our intentions were really, really good. But intentions are not wishful thinking. Intentions are much more powerful than just a wishful thought that we set and we hope it happens. For an intention to take root, it needs two things. Number one, the heart needs to be committed. And number two, we need to have the energy to commit that intention to action. If those two components are not there, that intention will never come to fruition. Just because we want something really, really, really badly, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. Most times we set an intention with our minds. It's logical. It's a smart thing to do. It makes sense. We are committed psychologically. But the other two components are not there. The heart's not on board, and the energy to carry it through to action isn't on board. So it doesn't happen. There are two kinds of intentions. There are those intentions that are conscious, and there are intentions that are unconscious, that are back there in the subconscious mind, and they just keep perpetuating themselves. They kick in from time to time, and we have maybe long forgotten them. So when we're in that state in which we're not clear, it's like having one foot on the accelerator, that part of ourselves that wants to move forward, wants to make changes, wants to see things differently, and that other foot is on the brake. That part of ourselves that wants things to remain the same, familiar. It just resists change. So if we find ourselves in that state, well, we can open our hearts to the divine and give everything that we're clinging to, all those things that we're not ready to give up, put them in the hands of God for safekeeping. God hold them for you. Just by doing that, we begin to live with more lightness, and life happens on a higher caliber. we hear Sri Yukteswar's admonition to his disciples, learn to behave. We've heard that many times, but that behavior keeps changing as we move on the path to self-realization. That behavior becomes more refined. That behavior becomes more subtle as we move into higher states of consciousness. It's something that we keep fine-tuning like a beautiful musical instrument. You just keep fine-tuning it and fine-tuning it. As our intentions become clearer, everything in our lives begins to shift. We are here by intention in this life, not by accident. We are here by intention in this temple. Intention is the force that has brought everything in creation into manifestation. Everything hangs on intention. Every thought, every word, and every action hangs on intention. That's how important intention is. There is a little story about young Mukunda, Yogananda, when he was young, at his guru's ashram one evening. He was sitting at his guru's feet as the guru was expounding some sacred texts, and here was young Mukunda taking in the information and being ever delighted to be so close to his guru, when a little mosquito landed on his thigh and bit him. So naturally, he raised his hand and he was going to slap it down, but he remembered Patanjali's aphorism, ahimsa, harmlessness. So he spared the mosquito. But his guru said, "Why didn't you finish the job?" And young Mukunda said, "Master, do you advocate taking life?" He said, "No, but you had already struck the death blow in your mind." That's how conscious we need to be. Patanjali's meaning is the removal of the desire to kill. Killing goes way beyond taking the life out of somebody's body. We can kill someone's hope. We can kill someone's inspiration, someone's desire to know God, someone's dreams, someone's happiness. The desire. You don't even need to kill it. It's the desire to be angry at someone. So that's how we need to be so aware through intention. There is an anecdote about a spiritual seeker who wants to look for a teacher because he's very committed to waking up. So he interviews various teachers and he decides he wants to stay with one particular teacher. And so he comes to that teacher and tells the teacher, I would like to put myself under your tutelage because I am very committed to waking up. So would you give me an estimate of how long it might take me to wake up? And the teacher sizes him up and down and ponders a little bit. And then he says, it'll take you 10 years. And the disciple says, well, sir, you don't quite understand. I intend to work really hard here. I'm going to give it my all. And the teacher says, well, I think I may have misjudged you. It'll take you 20 years. And the disciple got agitated. He says, what do you mean? I intend to. That'll be 30 years. And every time the disciple became angrier and more agitated, a decade more went on. 60, 70, 100 years for you. So this guy had his intentions, but he didn't have the patience, did he? And that is our affirmation today that we just heard, patience. What are your intentions? This question demands total honesty, absolute honesty, to get clear. to shine the light of awareness into the deepest recesses of your heart and see what's lurking there. It's nice to slap little feel-good intentions, little hallmark intentions. I want to love everybody. I want to do this. I want to do that. But if that heart hasn't been consulted, if you haven't cleaned out the cupboards of your heart, you're going nowhere. We're just pretending, and nothing will take root. When our intentions are clear, then we keep them front and center. And by doing that, then our words, our thoughts, and our deeds are always aligned with our Dharma. It's in that moment-to-moment experience where the divine lives. It's that moment-to-moment experience that we connect to the divine. Not on your meditation cushion only, not in the temple, not while you're doing your purification rituals. It's moment to moment, taking that thread of awareness and weaving it and weaving it, weaving it throughout your day. So you are in the divine company at all times. In the Bible, we read that John the Baptist came onto the scene before Jesus to prepare the people to receive the kingdom of God, to prepare people to repent and to receive that higher consciousness. Yet once Jesus arrived on the scene, John the Baptist certainly baptized him, but then he told his followers, because John the Baptist had many followers, he told his followers, he encouraged his followers, now you follow him. You don't follow me any longer. I need to decrease and he needs to increase. And we might see it as John the Baptist taking a little step back in order for Jesus to take that step forth and continue with his mission. But the true meaning of this is ego consciousness must decrease, while Christ consciousness must increase. And this is what we need to do. This is what we are being called to do if we want to have a relationship with the divine, if we want to have a relationship with others. We live in a very competitive society. People are always trying to outshine and outdo each other and best each other in conversations, at work, in family, in all situations. People want to shine, want to be the ones that come forth strongly and be noticed. But can we take a step back and allow others to take that step forward, like John the Baptist did with Jesus? Can we allow others to shine while we become a little less visible? Is that possible? When we are established in that Christ consciousness, we don't have that need for approval and validation and praise and attention from others. We don't need that. Now, Swami Devi writes about a time in which Swami Kriyananda received a letter he received letters constantly, but on this particular occasion, he received a letter from somebody who was praising his beautiful writing and style and how his messages fulfilled him and helped him a lot in his life. So the following day, Swami was going to start a new book. So he said, well, today I have to really do a good job because I don't want to disappoint my public. And he sat and he sat and he sat, and there was no flow. Zero flow. Because he was seeking that public approval. And he finally laughed at himself, threw that idea out the window and started afresh. This time he tuned in with his guru. And the spigot opened up like that, and the flow came through. We become slaves when we look for other people's approval. We become free when we do things for the approval of God only. How do we engage without any self-interest? How does that happen? There's always something in behind people's minds or something to get out of an interaction. We can only engage like this when we've learned to love. Only through love can there be relationship. No love, no true relationship. Unless we love our neighbor, our coworker, our colleague, even strangers, there can be no relationship. In that state of neutrality, there's no movement, there's no energy, there's no possibility for relationship. And yet we're always so neutral. I'm fine, you do your thing, I do mine, everybody's happy, are we? In the reading today, we hear how Yogananda admonished some of the monks who were a little careless moving a beautiful tropical plant. They were trying to relocate it. And he called out to them, be careful with what you're doing. Can't you feel it? It's alive. How can we relate to others at that level? How deep can we go? For only in that state is there an interaction. When we live on the surface, nothing happens. There's a story about two women who were neighbors, and they were neighbors for many, many years. And one woman complained incessantly. She was always leaving notes on the other woman's door or windshield, complaining about whether her dogs barked too loudly or her tree was dropping leaves on her flower bed and so on and so on. So the complainer complained and the other lady just tried to deal with it. And one day, one woman falls ill. And then she becomes gravely ill, to the point where she wants to see friends and family and acquaintances to say goodbye, bid them farewell. She's getting ready to transition. And then she thought of a neighbor. She asked for the neighbor to come to her bedside. So the neighbor comes over, feeling very apologetic, and said, I'm so sad. I wish things had been differently. I didn't mean to complain so much. I never intended to wish you any harm. No, you didn't, said the woman, preparing to leave her body. But you never intended to love me either. And that's where it's at. Every moment offers a choice to either love or withhold love. The moment we withhold love, we die a little. The heart shrivels, it shrinks, and we do it over and over and over again. And our heart is not part of our existence anymore. We've become totally exiled from our hearts. We were made by love, for love. So how did this happen? How did we become so alienated from our own hearts? The answer is simple. We stopped loving, didn't we? Our number one intention is to love. To love when you're working, when you're assisting, when you're serving, when you're interacting, love. Otherwise, we're just living on the surface of life, we never become intimate with anything. But when we do open the heart to the divine, then we become very intimate with the whole universe around us. When we can see the sacred presence in everything, then we can stay awake, even in the darkest and most sorrowful places. We remain awake. Our karma begins with our intentions. Our karma begins with our intentions. And we're masters of those. Nobody forces an intention on us. We choose each and every time. We choose how we're going to go ahead. Whether that intention is conscious or subconscious, that intention has power, that intention has energy. And so that conversation with yourself has to happen constantly, on a regular basis. Where am I? Is my intention clear? So if you're having that conversation, your intention is clear. It stays clear and you stay committed. So that's why that joke, the guy that sets his intention in the morning and gets out of bed and, it's all gone to pot. This doesn't happen when you remain clear. This is the power that's going to help us fight the force of delusion. This force of delusion between you and delusion is like the clash of the titans. But this is how the saints stayed strong and they conquered. This is the power Jesus exerted when he was in the desert, having fasted 40 days and 40 nights. He was weak. He was exhausted. He was famished, but his intention was clear. His will and resolve were strong. And he was able to resist that strong satanic pull that tempted him to convert the stones in bread. So if we want to stay clear, we have to have that ongoing conversation so nothing knocks us off track. Nothing takes us away from our course, because we've attuned our will with a divine will through the power of intention. That is the hook. That is the connection. Just think about it. Every time you face an ordeal, you face a difficulty, you face a trial, your intention is at stake, as well as your inner kingdom. And when you identify with whatever is happening under your nose, the situation you're in, you relinquish vast territories of your inner kingdom, vast territories of joy, of peace, of love, of light. You've given it all away. For what? What made you give up such a big part of yourself? And in the big picture of things, was it worth it? So stop giving yourself away. Intention will help you to stay strong. If you keep giving yourself away like that, we end up like a ship that is not seaworthy. It's in the dockyard, under repairs. How is your vessel going to sail the waters of life? How are you going to gain those adventures and lessons that are out there so you can feel victorious in every battle? So I'd like to end with the excerpt that we read from the Bhagavad Gita today. This self is never born, nor does it perish. Once existing, it cannot ever cease to be. It is birthless, eternal, changeless, ever itself. It is not slain when the body is slain. This is our reality. This is who we truly are. This is what we want to return to. This is our birthright. So when your intention is to choose God, be sure that God will choose you. Now we'll have our offertory.
Take what you would like to give, place it in your right hand, and repeat after me. Divine Mother, we offer to thee the fruit of our labors.
To thee, the fruit of our labors,
Bless this offering.
bless this
And
offering.
serve as a channel of thy light
Serve as a channel of thy light
to truth-seeking souls everywhere.
to truth-seeking souls everywhere.
This song is inspired by the life of St. Francis. Praise ye the Lord of creatures, he who did make the mountains, he who did make the woods and fields, he who made the sky. Praise him who gave us gladness, praise him who fills our hearts with song, praise him who lives and notes on high, there where every host belong. Praise ye the Lord of creatures, he who did make the seasons, he who did make the hush of night, he who made the sun. Praise him who gave us laughter, praise him who taught our hearts to love, praise him and thank him everyone, seek him in his light above. Praise him who gave us laughter, praise him who taught our hearts to love, praise him and thank him everyone, seek him in his light above.
So now we'll have our festival of light. Let us lift